All right, let's talk about getting organized. I mean, really organized, but for your data. Today, we're diving into one of Python's most essential tools, the dictionary. Seriously, think of it as your own personal, super smart digital filing cabinet. And by the time we're done here, you'll be a pro at using it. But first, think about this for a sec. You've got all these little bits of information that belong together, right? Like a person's contact info or the details of a product. How do you actually group all that stuff so it, makes sense and doesn't just become a jumbled mess? Okay, let's get specific. Imagine we have a student named Ali. We know his name, we know he's 20, and we know he's studying computer science. Right now, those are just three separate facts, kind of floating in the void. They're related for sure, but they aren't actually connected in our code. I like to call this the data jigsaw puzzle. You've got all the pieces in front of you, but if you don't have a way to snap them together, you're never going to see the whole picture. They're just scattered parts. And this is where Python dictionaries come to the rescue. They are, hands down, the perfect solution for this puzzle. So let's go back to that filing cabinet idea. A dictionary lets you take each piece of info, put it in a file, that's the value, and then stick a unique label on that file. And that's what we call the key. And here's what it looks like in actual Python code. We create our dictionary, we'll call it student. Then we have a key name, which points to the value Ali. The key age points to 20. See how that works? It's just a super clean and readable way to bundle all of Ali's info into one neat little package. Okay, so now we get what a dictionary is, but let's pop the hood a little bit. How do we actually use these things? Like, how do we pull information out? Or maybe add something new? This is probably what you'll be doing most of the time. We've got Ali's information all stored away neatly in our student dictionary. But what if all we need is his name? How do we grab just that one specific file from the cabinet? Well, it's actually incredibly simple. All you have to do is mention the dictionary's name, student, and then in square brackets, you just give it the key or the label of the file you want. So student name goes directly to that key and pulls out the value, which of course is Ali. It's so direct, so efficient. And this brings up one of my favorite things about dictionaries. They are super flexible. Our digital filing cabinet isn't locked and sealed forever. What if Ali moves on to his third semester? We're going to need a way to add that new piece of info to his file. Let's watch how that works. We start with our original dictionary. To add a new piece of information, we just make up a new key. Let's call it semester. And we assign it a value, 3. And poof, just like that, our dictionary instantly updates itself to include that new key value pair. It really is that easy. This is a really powerful idea. You don't have to know everything from the get-go. You can actually set up your filing system first, just create an empty cabinet, and then start adding the files one by one as you get the information. And here's what that looks like in the code. See on the left, to start totally from scratch, you can just create an empty dictionary with a pair of curly braces. Or, like on the right, you can start it off with some data already inside. Both ways are perfectly valid. So let's take that new empty employee dictionary we just made. We can add a name by creating the name key and giving it the value Sarah. Then, on the next line, we can add her salary with the salary key. Each line just adds a new entry, building up that employee's record piece by piece. Okay, we've seen how to build them and how to use them. But, like any good system, dictionaries do have a few important rules you've got to know. Let's run through them real quick. First, everything is built on those key value pairs. Second, and this one is super important, keys have to be unique. You just can't have two files with the exact same label in the same drawer. It wouldn't make sense. Third, the values can be pretty much anything you can think of. Text, numbers, lists, hey, even other dictionaries. And finally, they are mutable, which is just a fancy way of saying you can change them. If they were immutable, it'd be like writing Ali's info in permanent ink. You could never update it. But because they are mutable, it's like writing in pencil. You can always go back and erase or add things as life changes. And this right here really gets to the heart of it. That direct link between a key and its value is the secret sauce. It's what makes dictionaries so incredibly fast. You're not rummaging through a whole box of items to find what you want. You're just looking at the label and going straight to the file. It's a game changer for performance. All right, let's take a step back for a second. We've been looking at the nuts and bolts, but why does this matter so much? What's the big picture takeaway here for you? It comes down to this.
Dictionaries are basically a programmer's superpower for turning complex, messy data into something that's clean, intuitive, and easy to work with. I mean, think about a service like Spotify or Netflix. When you log in, you don't think they search through millions of user profiles one by one, do you? No way. They almost certainly use your username or user ID as a key to instantly pull up your specific profile, your playlists, your viewing history. That is the power of dictionaries working at a massive scale.
So that brings us to the final thought. Now that you see how this digital filing cabinet really works, I want you to think for a second. What's something in your world? Could be a project at work, a personal hobby, even the way you take notes. What could be organized better using this simple, powerful idea of a dictionary?